The journalists are about. Eraserhead dismisses them with the level of respect befitting their profession. The class's task for today is to choose their representative. But how to do that?
We will hold an election to choose our leader.
And you'll all vote Ida, of course. The God Emperor of June finds this idea quaint, but acceptable. Results are in. Midoriya wins. And Momo will be the Dick Cheney to his W.
Didn't you want to be rep really badly? I mean, you do look the part, because of the glasses.
That's not exactly how we should be choosing our rep.
Hey, it's as good a reason to cast your vote as any. If anything, better than many I've heard. While they discuss Ida's rich and superpowered family, the panic and shit yourselves alarm goes off. Most students do as it tells them, but Ida wonders if there might be a smarter response. With a little help, he anti-gravities over the crowd and tells them to chill.
Listen up! Everything is okay!
Later, after the all-clear is given, Midoriya announces he will be stepping down as rep and giving it to the best man for the job. On his way into work, All Might sees a chance to do some big damn hero shit and just can't help himself. And that leaves him to tug it out to join them for their next set of training. Rescue! This will be happening at another facility. Damn! How many of these places are there? Is there some kind of superhero industrial complex building all this sprawly shit everywhere? Their rescue teacher is this astronaut dude / legally distinct Michelin man called 13. She built this facility to cover every kind of party a superhero might find themselves in. But today, there's a new addition. Portals full of baddies. That's handy. They immediately notice All Might is missing. Disappointing! Maybe slaughtering these idiots will draw him out. All communications have been cut. Someone will have to make a run for reinforcements. Eraserhead gets stuck in and shows that he's good for much more than wiping out powers. But he's just one guy. His attention wanders, and this portal fella gets past him. Bakugo tries the old nitroglycerin bitch slap, but it's hard to land a hit on the void between dimensions. Portal Guy hits back by teleporting everyone to random points around the arena. It seems he can't materialize them inside the concrete or other such pro-gamer fuckery, but he can still drop them straight in the shit. Midoriya, Sue the Frog Girl, and this dweeb end up on a boat. And the bastards are closing in. Midoriya figures out that while they probably had a plan to deal with All Might, the army of villains doesn't seem to know what the students' powers are, and it's left them a little hesitant. But that won't last, especially while this guy takes the prospect of defeat like this. Midoriya opens by using a super ear flicker to mix things up a bit. Sue tongue lashes them out of there, while this kid strafes them with his power and uses his sticky, sweaty balls to katamari them all together. They take a peek at how Eraserhead's doing. His elbow has gone hell no. Oh man, that's nasty. While all this is going off, All Might is otherwise engaged, with the head teacher, having a nice chat over tea. 13 tells Ida to make a break for it and fetch reinforcements. Hey Portal Guy, you suck! Unfazed, Portal Guy takes a little time to gloat before using this move, which I like to call blowing your back out.
Thinking with portals.
It leaves 13 unable to walk, but Ida can run. Uraraka spots that Portal Guy isn't 100% Portal, so she anti-grabs this thing, and everyone else starts getting their digs in. As Eraserhead is further ground into paste, Mr. Hands starts thinking about noping out of there. Why now, wonders Midoriya. But before they can make like a tree and fuck off, they'll kill a few students. He goes to dissolve soon, but Eraserhead stops him in his tracks. Midoriya weighs in hard and achieves nothing. Just as it seems they've overplayed their hand. By God! Is that All Might's music? He rescues Eraserhead and starts throwing hands. Like Midoriya, All Might just can't bring the hurt to this tanky fella.
Doesn't even matter where I punch you, does it?
How about all that exposed brain? I bet that's good and squishy. His power is shock absorption. He can soak up hit after hit. But that still implies a weakness.
Punch him right in the ball!
Almost. It implies that if you hit him enough, he'll become saturated like a sponge and unable to take any more. All Might goes for a big suplex, but with the power of portals, he gets pinned in a Super 69. Portal Guy clenches and goes for the telefrag. Midoriya can't just watch. He does his trademark, pile in without thinking. Before he can get wrecked, the other students show up and make themselves useful. Bakugo figures out Portal Guy's deal. Why, he's not even 60% portal. Pathetic. You know what's not pathetic? Getting flash frozen and shattered, then shrugging it off. It's just a flesh wound. Cool. Job 1. Free their ticket out of there. All Might ended up eating the hit, but job done. Job 2. Get a good villain speech off.
You're just another government-sponsored instrument of violence.
Job 3.
Kill him. I'll deal with the children.
All Might doesn't have much left in the tank. Just enough to overcome damage absorption with a fuck ton of damage. And he finishes with a monster slam and a classic slap into orbit. With more or less nothing left, he bluffs and demands their surrender. They call his bluff. Midoriya once again dives to the rescue and blunders right into their hands, and is bailed out by the rest of the staff, who begin mopping up as the leaders teleport out and leave the underlings to catch some bullets for them. They arrive straight into their debrief. Yeah, they kind of fucked it. And yeah, they lost their bioengineered super dude. But valuable lessons were learned, and the costs were acceptable. They'll be back. And that's season 1. What a banger. I kinda loved it. I say kinda, which might sound a little harsher than I intend. There's a lot to like here. But I want to cover a few ways it didn't quite grab me first, just to get it out of the way. How can I put it? It's the villains, man! In my line of work, domination of the multiverse and everything in it, you really develop an appreciation for a charismatic baddie. And in this first season we see a couple of dudes with promise, but they feel like they don't get all that much time to shine. These dudes first appear about 2/3 through, and their entrance could do with some work too.
Presentation!
They just turn up, and as soon as they start getting into their groove, they have to bugger off again. We really don't see a lot of this guy's motivation. Sure, the hands thing he's got going is creepy, but what drives him to his dastardly deeds seems to be that he's a libertarian.
Of course a government hero relies on violence.
And I'm sorry, but I cannot respect an ideology for teenagers that exists to sell the worst book ever written and get people into weekly screaming matches over whether the age of consent is too high.
I'll deal with the children.
The show even calls out this motivation as a bunch of bullshit he doesn't really believe. And that leaves us with very little to go on regarding this guy. The same can be said for about half the class. There's a lot of them, and the price of the show maintaining its otherwise excellent pace is that a lot of these guys don't really get to shine either. Take this Bird fella. What's his deal? He's hardly appeared in this review at all up till now, and he doesn't get much more screen time than I've given him. Or this guy, whose defining trait is that he's kind of French, and using his power for too long gives him the shits. To be clear, that's a totally fair creative decision, and probably the right one. We've all seen what happens when you go too far the other way, and dive too deep into too large a cast of characters. I'm looking at you, George. What's rather more questionable is the horniness. Revolting slimeball as I am, I found much of it quite funny. But some of it left me feeling like I need to take a shower. For instance, Uraraka here.
This bodysuit is skin tight.
She's 15, and so is Sue.
Come on.
On the other hand, I'm painfully aware of what the world of anime is like. This is definitely not the most skeevy thing we're ever going to see on this channel. Like and subscribe! But enough about the bad. Let's discuss the good. The other students in the class are simply delightful. Their powers are neat and well matched to their personalities. Those we've got to know so far are vivacious, colourful, full of beans. Sure, plenty of them we haven't seen much of, but this series is clearly only just getting started. It's their third day. I've got the remaining series sitting on my hard drive waiting to review too, and you better believe I'll be getting stuck in at some point. Subscribe so you don't miss it. The teachers are marvelous too. All Might is a wonderful representation of true strength of character, both as it appears from the outside, flawless and indomitable, and from the inside, as John Wayne put it, being shit scared, but mounting up anyway. He identifies real heroism as being willing to throw yourself into harm's way to protect what and who you care about, no matter the cost to yourself, and knows full well that it isn't a matter of might and power, but one of personal character. I've heard the look of his eyes was designed to convey a deep and piercing insight, in much the same way Odin, king of the Norse gods, was depicted as having sacrificed an eye in order to gain great wisdom. All Might's physical mangling is a little different, but its communication of his profound understanding, and the price he pays to win it, is just as potent. I love the characterization of the other teachers as well. Eraserhead has clearly seen some shit, stared into the abyss, and been put through the ringer by it. He brings that harsh reality into his classes, not out of vindictiveness, but as a tough love to shatter any rosy illusions and ultimately see that those in his charge suffer for no longer than they need to. And then there's the head teacher. He's adorable and clearly one smart cookie. I want this guy to be my little mate so badly I can hardly put it into words. The soundtrack is bopping. The animation is slick and gorgeous, sometimes rising to pretty damn great. And the story is basic and unambiguous, but compelling nonetheless. And that's fine. You don't always need endless depth and complexity, as long as you execute it well. Take the Shadow of the Colossus. You're a nameless dude trying to save his girl, who duffs up some big fellas. Or Azura's Wrath. You're a very angry demigod who wants to get even. And that's all. They are great, memorable stories because they nail it on the execution, and My Hero Academia does exactly the same. However, not a single one of these guys could possibly stand against Batman in a fight, especially if he had some prep time. Therefore, I must give this series 2 out of 10. Thanks for watching. Did you enjoy this video? Then hit all the buttons. I assume some of them do fun things. What would you like to see next? Please leave me a comment. And with that, I'll see you next time.